Now at 10, as authorities search for a missing Cassville, Missouri doctor, we'll hear from the missing man's brother. Plus,
we hear from some individuals who were given their U.S. citizenship today at the naturalization ceremony. I'm Yana Haudala with the story.
And Southeast Kansas community leaders discuss solutions to food insecurity in the 4 states.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The suspect in a Villa, Missouri double homicide learns his sentence. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Authorities say Kevin Johnson shot and killed Mason McClure and Nicole Hodges in February of 2021. Johnson admits he killed them both, claiming they killed his girlfriend, Briley O'Banion. Johnson pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder. He's sentenced to 28 years in prison for each count, but they will run at the same time. The search continues in southwest Missouri for a missing doctor. 49-year-old John Forsyth, an ER doctor at the hospital in Cassville, has been missing since Sunday morning. His car was found unlocked with the keys in it. As Liam Garrity reports, Dr. Forsyth's brother says the whole family is shocked at this apparently random act.
Somehow he sees this. What would you want to say to him?
I'd say that we love you and we miss you, and if you're gone because of good reasons, we understand, but we want to see you soon.
Dr. John Forsyth was last seen Sunday morning leaving his shift here at Mercy Hospital in Cassville.
People worried about how much he worked, but he always told me he loved it, and the reason he loved it was because he was helping people, and he was very passionate about it.
His brother, Richard Forsyth, says they grew up in Canada, came to Missouri for school, and now call it home.
He's never missed a day of work in his life. If he had a broken leg, he'd show up for work.
Cassville police say searchers scoured 90 acres on Tuesday. There were 36 people searching between 13 different agencies. Not one piece of evidence was found. Dr. Forsyth, pictured here, is 5'11", with brown hair, blue eyes, and weighs 180 pounds.
Currently no facts to suggest foul play or abduction, but his being missing is beyond bizarre.
Police searched his RV and believe he was there for a short time before he left. Investigators say they used search teams, dogs, and heat signature drones. Richard says time is of the essence.
We've actually had a number of extremely helpful tips come in the last few days, potential sightings of him that we're trying to confirm. If anyone has seen him or may know anything about why he could be missing, we would love to hear it.
And in fact, if you know anything, you should call 911. The family has set up a Facebook page and also a place for email tips. The email address you see on your screen, findjohn2023@gmail.com. Chief Meteorologist Doug Eddy joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Well, it actually turned out to be a pretty good Thursday for us today. We did have some isolated thunderstorms on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side once again this afternoon, but most of us ended up staying dry. Temperature is great, 82 for a high. We started out very comfortable during the morning hours at about 57 degrees, and still we even have a few isolated thunderstorms out there in our far western counties, but most of us are dry. Most of us are going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. In fact, let's go through time. We'll stop here at about 2 in the morning. You can still see a few random little showers out there, but most of us look pretty good, and then we'll back down near 60 for an overnight low. So your day planner, or at least your morning planner, 63 in the morning. We'll see an overnight low of 59 up to 73 by 10 a.m. We're going to look at your holiday weekend here in just a bit.
Governor Mike Parson today visited Black Rain Ordnance, a firearms company in Neosho, Missouri. He toured the facility and visited with the company founders. The company has grown in 15 years from a 2-car garage operation to one of the largest manufacturing employers in Neosho. Black Rain surprised the governor with his own Custom 57 rifle, Team 57 custom rifle. It has the names of all Missouri governors engraved to celebrate Governor Parson as Missouri's 57th governor. Black Rain works with law enforcement, designing custom-made firearms for departments all over the country. About 60 people living in Missouri were today given their U.S. citizenship during their naturalization ceremony at George Washington Carver National Monument. KOAM's Yana Hautala attended that ceremony and talked to the excited new citizens.
Nearly 60 individuals from 29 different countries are getting their hard work paid off today as they are becoming U.S. citizens at their naturalization ceremony here at the George Washington Carver National Monument.
I'm from India.
The position that we have as immigrants coming over to the United States and being able to share what we know from another country and able to bring more color and diversity in the United States, it's a pleasure.
Sue Ann Williams is accompanied with her loved ones, one of them being her sister, who brought her to the United States when she was a newborn.
I grew up saying the Pledge of Allegiance when I would go to school of the United States of America. I grew up being proud of the American flag and growing up in the American culture. And my mother had sat me down and she explained that I was not really born here. And it really touched my heart, and I cried because I wanted to be that American that I had grown up in, that culture.
New citizens are relieved on this day. They have put a lot of work and effort for. It took Sue Ann 12 years to get to this point.
It's the relief to the point that I want to cry, but I don't want to mess up my makeup. So it's a burden of being able to now officially be a part of the country that I've always been patriotic for.
And they have advice for someone who may consider applying.
The work that you need to do is more work than you think in your head. It requires much more work and effort, but as long as you do it, you will get to it. The feeling you get when you accomplish, nothing compares to it.
In Diamond, Yana Hautala, KOAM News.
Officials with the federal court for the Western District of Missouri say this year they're going to have a total of 3 naturalization ceremonies. After the ceremony, citizens can fill paperwork for passports and Social Security cards. Sports Director Jacob Leonard joins us now with our first look at sports.
Well, today's a big day for a lot of local baseball and softball teams. The Pittsburgh Purple Dragons hit the road to state softball this morning in their first state tournament appearance since 2002. We're going to have highlights from their quarterfinal matchup with Valley Center. Now, Columbus baseball rallies by Bishop Ward to move on to the state semifinals for the second straight season. We'll have those highlights as well as a couple big upsets in the first round coming up in just a little bit, Dow.
See you soon. The Spiva Center for the Arts hosts a weekly free painting class called Memories in the Making. This class focuses on helping those who struggle with memory. Jesse McCormick has been helping people with memory loss by letting them paint for more than 20 years. He does allow students to pick what to paint, but he recommends painting sceneries to improve their memory.
You can remember what the sky looked like, what clouds look like, not specifically, but enough that you can recreate it. So it's recreation rather than remembering.
Anyone is welcome to attend, free of charge, no appointment needed. Memories in the Making is held every Thursday at noon in the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Center. Kansas organization today held a summit in Pittsburgh aimed at addressing food insecurity. Kansas Appleseed advocates for Kansans to work together to find solutions to problems. Today's summit focused on hunger and the high cost of groceries. Community leaders discussed ways to increase food access in southeast Kansas.
There's so many fantastic leaders in the community in that room that it makes me feel very optimistic. These are all very talented and hardworking people with great ideas, and I think working together we can really combat this food insecurity issue.
Today's free summit was held at the Pittsburgh Public Library. Coming up, travelers here in the 4 states and all across the country prepare to hit the road and sky ahead of the holiday weekend. Plus, how a Joplin church today honored those who made the ultimate sacrifice. 4-staters are ready to hit the road this holiday weekend, and we're not alone. AAA predicts 42.3 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more from home this Memorial Day weekend. The summer travel season kicks off this weekend. AAA predicts air travel will exceed pre-pandemic levels, saying this Memorial Day weekend could be the busiest at airports since 2005. On the ground, some 3.71 million people are expected to travel by car. You can expect busy highways this weekend, and according to Corporal Sam Carpenter with the Missouri State Highway Patrol, a heavier presence of law enforcement as well.
Holiday weekends, we do expect to see heavier traffic on our highways, so we have every available trooper that goes out and does enforcement for the weekends. So you should see a lot of state troopers, a lot of law enforcement in general on our roadways, just out there trying to make sure everybody's staying within the law and being safe, having the best weekend they can.
At Joplin's 44 Petro Truck Plaza, the price of a gallon of unleaded gasoline, $3.17 today. Yeah, it seems high, I know it is, but AAA says the national average is still about 50 cents lower than last year at this time. Peace Church in Joplin today held special Memorial Day ceremonies to honor veterans buried at Peace Church Cemetery. The veterans who passed served our country in 5 wars: the Civil War, Spanish-American War, World Wars I and II, and the Korean War. American Legion Post 13 helped with the ceremony today in part by planting American flags. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy's back next with a complete look at the forecast. And a little bit later, the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons hit the road to Wichita to face off against Valley Center. We're going to have the highlights for you in sports.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a decent Thursday for us today. We have partly sunny skies. We did get a few isolated thunderstorms on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side during the afternoon, kind of like what we have seen over the past couple days. But it is Thursday, and our new drought tracker comes out every single Thursday. And of course, we want to monitor this, especially as we get into the summer months, because of the severe drought that we had last summer. And still, a good chunk of the region is under a drought. If we look at I-44 and south, everything is good, but the Joplin metro is dry. Once you get to Pittsburgh, a moderate drought. And then once you start to work a little bit farther toward the west, look at this. Extreme drought still. Yates Center, Chanute, Erie, Fredonia, Independence, and then an exceptional drought once you get out toward Elk and Chautauqua counties. And you can see this extends into northeastern parts of Oklahoma as well. So we need any rain we can get. And it looks like it's going to be pretty hit and miss as we go through the next few days. All right, tonight down to about 59 degrees, partly sunny skies during the morning. We'll rebound to about 73 by the time 10 a.m. rolls around. We look pretty good out there right now. We do still have a few random clouds, but all the scattered showers and thunderstorms we had earlier, again, mainly on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, these are continuing to push off toward the north and to the west. So most of us are dry, but there could be an isolated little guy out there toward Eureka, Wichita, into northeastern Oklahoma. But again, I think most of us look pretty good as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. We just have this weak little upper level wave that is rotating through, so this could fire off a few more little afternoon thunderstorms once again for us on Friday afternoon. All right, let's step through your next 48 hours. We're going to stop at 7 a.m. in the morning. Temperatures pretty good. Most of us 60, 61 degrees. We'll see some clouds increase through the morning hours, but I think most of us will be mid to upper 70s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon hours, you can see some hit and miss showers popping up again. Southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. High temp of 80 in Neosho, 81 in Parsons, Pittsburgh 81, Lamar, up to about 80, 82 in Miami. Tomorrow night looks good. Partly cloudy skies. We'll dip back to about 51 for an overnight low. And then Saturday, I think, looks pretty good across the region. It's going to be a little bit cooler, but we should stay dry. High temps right around 77, 78 degrees by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. All right, day planner for you on your Friday. 63 to start, 78 by noon. High temp right around 81 degrees once we get into the afternoon. Here's your holiday weekend forecast. 77 on Saturday, which is a little bit cooler, and then back to 80 by the time we head into Sunday afternoon. I think we'll be mainly dry. We could get a few thunderstorms popping up Monday afternoon, which is Memorial Day, and then those hit and miss storms stick around next week. But look at our temps. We start to warm through the 80s, actually pushing 90 by late next week.
Wow. Thanks, Doug. Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone. It's absolutely free. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Again, KOAM Skywatch weather app. Check it out right now. Still ahead, the Pittsburgh softball team hits the field in the first round of the state tournament in Wichita, and we're going to hear from the Webb City Cardinals ahead of Saturday's state quarterfinal matchup with Kearney. Jacob Leonard has that and more. It's coming up next.
Well, today is the opening day of high school state baseball and softball tournaments in Kansas. We got plenty of local teams in action today across the state, starting first with the Columbus Titans in the 3A state baseball tournament. The Titans are in Manhattan for the second straight season. Columbus faces Bishop Ward in the quarterfinal round today. They're down 4-0 here in the third. Colt Ungehauer changes that up and out to left for the 2-run jack. Columbus cuts the lead to 4-2 after 3. The top of the fifth, Seth Stover on the mound for the Titans. Gets the strikeout, then Columbus takes over with the bats. Bottom 5, Brett Hamilton rips one through the left side. That scores Ungehauer easily from third. At that point, it's a 4-4 ball game. Same inning, Jaspin Tanner now delivers the go-ahead hit to left center. RBI single brings Stover in. Titans have their first lead. It is 5-4. Then, just for good measure, later in the inning, Landon Midget hammers one into the left field corner. 2 more score on that. Columbus gets 5 runs in the fifth to make it 8-4. Midget into second for the double there. Bishop Ward makes it interesting late, but Ungehauer ends the game here with a leaping grab at shortstop. Columbus beats Bishop Ward 9-8 to move on to the state semifinals for the second straight season. Now, staying in the 3A bracket in Manhattan, Humboldt Cubs are the number 1 seed. They face Hoisington to open the tournament. Humboldt gets it done 4-1. Trey Summer throws a complete game with 7 strikeouts. The Cubs move on to play in the state semifinals tomorrow at 1:15. On Class 2A, pretty much a yearly tradition here, the Colgan Panthers are in the state tournament facing top-seeded Little River in round 1. Check it out, Colgan knocks off the top seed in the bracket 12-5. Tristan Voss drives in 3. Tyson Bennett gets a pair of RBIs. The Panthers will play in the state semifinals tomorrow in Great Bend. We have 2 teams out of the SEK in the 4A bracket, starting with league champion Fort Scott up against Abilene in Salina today. This one just went final a few minutes ago. Chanute gets a walk-off sac fly in the 7th from Caden Young. Fort Scott, rather, gets a walk-off sac fly in the bottom of the 7th to beat the Cowboys 3-2. They move on to the state semifinals to play the winner of this one. Chanute faces Clay Center, the number 1 seed in the 4A bracket. And look at this. Blue Comets get a shutout win, 1-0 over the Tigers. Cohen Wheeler gets the lone RBI of the game for Chanute. Brett Smith tosses a complete game shutout. So it's an SEK rivalry game tomorrow. Chanute against Fort Scott for a spot in the 4A state championship. Now today, also a busy day at state for local softball teams. We have 3 local teams in action today in their respective state brackets. The Pittsburgh Purple Dragons, they hit the road to Wichita this morning for the 5A state tournament. Friends, family, and fans saw them off this morning before they hit the road. It's Pittsburgh's first appearance at state since 2002. The Purple Dragons are the 6th seed, entering the tournament with a 16-6 overall record. Now their tournament opener is tonight against the 3 seed Valley Center, and Pittsburgh starts off hot. Megan Johnston threw short there. Maya Russell hustles in from second. Dragons lead the defending champs. Hornets, however, quickly get it back. Macy George off the top of the wall ties the game up at 1, and from there it was all Valley Center. Abria Perry, 2-run double here. Valley Center pulls away from Pittsburgh to win this one 11-1. The Fort Scott Tigers also representing the SEK at state in the 4A bracket. They're up against McPherson to open the tournament. Outstanding game tonight. It goes 12 innings, but the Tigers fall just short 3-2. And finally in Manhattan, Columbus in the state softball bracket for the first time since 1999. They face Rossville. Rossville really gets the bats going. They beat the Titans 19-7. Columbus finishes the season with a 21-3 overall record. The Webb City Cardinals are back in the state quarterfinals for the 2nd straight year. The Cardinals host Kearney on Saturday, aiming to move on to the Final Four in the Missouri Class 5 state bracket. Now, last time they were on the field, Webb City beat McDonald County 2-0 to earn the Class 5 District 7 title. The Cardinals are now 21-13 overall this season. On the other side, their quarterfinal opponent, Kearney, is 24-9. We caught up with the Cards this afternoon to talk about their matchup with the Bulldogs and trying to keep their season alive this weekend.
It's kind of a thing that the early part of the year we were trying to feel ourselves out, trying to who we are, what we can do well. I think some guys have really embraced certain roles on the team, top of the order guys have figured out they got to hit and get on base. Middle of the order guys, hey, they got to produce. Bottom of the order guy, that's kind of been one thing that's been great. The bottom of our order has really produced pretty well for us. So having those guys get on base too has just been a big bonus.
Well, I think if we can hold their offense down, we should be able to win the game. But because they can swing it a little bit, I don't know about their defense. So if we just hold their offense down, I think we're going to win that game.
A really exciting day. 2 local 8 seeds knock off number 1 seeds, and we'll get Chanute and Fort Scott for a spot in the 4A state championship. So guaranteed, we'll have a local team in the 4A state championship game.
What an exciting way to start the summer season, huh?
For sure.
Yeah, it might get better. We'll be right back. Let's check back in with Doug for a final look at the weather.
All right, Friday is looking pretty good to kick off the holiday weekend. 81 for a high. We will see a few isolated thunderstorms on the Kansas and Oklahoma side once again, but I really think mainly dry as we head into the holiday weekend. A little bit cooler Saturday, high temp of 77, 80 Sunday, 83 on Memorial Day, so most of the weekend is shaping up pretty good.
And Saturday is going to be the nicest weather-wise for a while, looks like. Final sports note.
We had 5 local baseball teams at the start of the day still alive for state championships. We end the day with 5 local baseball teams still alive for state championships. Columbus, Humboldt, Chanute, Fort Scott, Colgan.
Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for joining us. Morning Show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.